to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
It's been so long, I've forgotten how to start this thing.
I know.
But we're back. It's a new year, and we got lots of tasty stuff to do. We're going to try to do multiple shows today. We'll see how far we get. This is the first show, so we'll see how we progress through the recordings.
Should move through. Well, I'm sure that our listeners will, or no, viewers will see. I'm all ready. I haven't even had a sip yet, so should be good.
Well, let's get started, shall we?
Yes, let's do.
We're going to start with a dry hopped mead. You might remember a few shows back, I got some local honey from Caleb Hutcherson down in Prairie Grove, Arkansas here. Well, I had another quart of that, which equals 3 pounds or 1.4 kilograms. So I thought, well, I'm gonna use that and make a nice clean honey and then dry hop it with some Galaxy hops. So here's how that went. I started off with 1 gallon or 3.8 liters of water at 105 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 C. And I just warmed that up just to help the honey integrate more easily. And then I used 3 pounds or 1.4 kilograms of local honey and mixed that in there. And to that, I added 1 teaspoon of yeast energizer. And then I pitched Imperial Organic Yeast A40 Bubbles, which is a cider yeast, but it can also be used for meads. And so I let that ferment for a while. 6 days later, I took a gravity reading and it was down to 1015 from an original gravity of 1078. So I added another half teaspoon of Energizer and degassed. And I decided to dry hop with 1 ounce or 28 grams of Galaxy hops. And I put them in the fermenter for 3 days. And after that 3 days, I bottled. Oh, this, by the way, the yield was 11 bottles. After adding that quart of honey to that 1 gallon of water, I got 11 bottles out of the end of it. So I primed with in each bottle with one of those little carbonation drops. So original gravity 1078, final gravity 0.998 for an ABV of 10.7%. So not only is it dry hopped, it should be a little bit carbonated. So we'll see. That sounds promising. So here we go. And I assume, sensor round.
Oh, sorry about that. It's been a long day and I've been busy.
Does that inspire you? Look at that. Boy, it looks like I needed to wash that glass a little bit, but it's very champagne-y looking. Have you got yours poured, Steve?
So. Yeah.
I poured aggressively, so.
Well, I poured mine while you were explaining. So
and
I don't have a Pilsner glass.
I didn't do any clarifying, but it's nice and pretty clear.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Oh.
Those hops come round through.
It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overpowering, but the kind of fruitiness of the hops pairs well with the flavor of that honey, even though it's really dry.
It's very dry. Yeah, it's almost like a brute mead. Yeah, actually, it's really nice and dry and crisp and refreshing, and the hops are not overpowering, which would be a shame. I mean, you could really pretty easily overpower a light mead like this. So be careful. If you're a hophead, don't get carried away because you'll ruin your mead. But this is nicely done. And Galaxy works really well. So,
yeah. And there's no bitterness, from the hops, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
No, the hops resented it a little bit, but they're not bitter. They're just... They may not come to your next birthday party, but they'll be okay. They'll get over it.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. It's nice and refreshing. This would be really nice on a nice warm summer day, although, all this will be gone before before summer, I'm sure. But it's super easy to do, especially if you take care of your yeast nutrition, and that's one of the keys to making a good delicious mead.
Yep, sure is. And the bubbles worked great. Worked really well. It just clean fermentation. There's no, at least I don't taste any yeast. I don't taste that the yeast added anything or did anything other than ferment.
No.
So,
and that's at Bubbles, which is a cider yeast, which is supposed to be fermenting clean, and it sure did. It took care of it really nicely.
Yeah, and the Energizer added in judiciously at the right time is a really smart thing to do. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, I mean, there's not a lot to say about it. It's simple. I think the biggest thing that folks have a problem with, customers that I speak with or folks that send me emails, is that they get in a hurry and try to move it along too quickly. And so maybe it's cloudy, it hasn't cleared out yet. Mead likes time. Mead really likes its own time, but it shouldn't. Like this one. I mean, really the fermentation shouldn't take you remember when we first started making mead? It was like 1 year later, it's still blooping because we didn't know anything about yeast energizers or degassing or any of those techniques that will move along quickly and get it to where it's drinkable, in a reasonable amount of time. This is delicious.
Well, thank you.
So,
well, there you go.
Yeah,
Episode 1 out of the way.
Well, I was afraid. I guess you gave me 3 bottles of this, and I was afraid that I had drunk them all before the show, but I didn't.
Which, yeah, I think I've got one additional one in addition to this, or maybe 2. No, I've got 2 more. So, I always try to hold back and have a safety factor. So, knock wood.
Well, so I was a little freaking out. I was like, oh boy, I hope I didn't drink all those because there aren't.
So far, we haven't had
backup on those.
We haven't had to fake anything on substituting other beers for the real ones.
Well, I have had a few stunt beers in my time, but they get paid. They get paid scale, and then I send them home. So,
well, all right, Steve.
All right,
on to episode
Cheers.
number 2, which is going to be something completely different. Cheers, everybody. Happy brewing. Come and visit us online. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archive lists of our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs and our brewer's logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer. If you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, stop by Steve's Brew Shop or find him online at stevesbrewshop.com. Oh, man.
That's really good.
That'll make you happy.
I really was afraid. I was like, oh, I hope he gave me 3.